Hello, everyone. Hello, good morning, good afternoon. Hello, everyone. We are really pleased to have you joining this webinar today. We know that it's a very challenging event as we expect more than 700 participants. So, hello everyone, I'm Carole Homais, ICS Manager, and so we are pleased to be with you today for this global presentation. Today, this webinar will be to present you both the ICS Initiative for Compliance and Sustainability and the ITC, the International Trade Center. We will receive also some words from some ICS members, Camailleux, Carrefour, and Tapaloy, that will explain how this project about transparency and traceability is very strategic for them. We will then go to some general words about transparency and traceability challenges and benefits. And then this will be an opportunity for us to explain to you the solution we have built and how you can engage in this project using the ICS database and in link with ITC Sustainability Map tool. And we will keep a time to answer any questions you could have at the end. So thank you to add your question in the chat. It's not possible to discuss all together directly, but we will be really happy to receive your questions in the chat. So thank you for that. I will give the floor to Joe Wozniak in order to introduce the ITC.
Thank you very much, Carole, and good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joe Wozniak. I'm the head of the T4SD, the Trade for Sustainable Development Program with the International Trade Center, ITC, based in Geneva, Switzerland. And so I'm very happy to be here with you today and with my colleague, Greg Sampson, who you'll meet in a few moments. But just first off, I wanted to also say thanks very much to Carole and Cecile and the entire ICS team for organizing this seminar today, and indeed for the very strong collaboration we have with ICS. I think it shows that the private and public sector can work together on sustainability in a very, very innovative, pragmatic, and really, I would say, sustainable way. So that's just to say we're very happy to participate here. One thing I like to mention before I start in terms of our work on traceability and transparency is just maybe a brief introduction in terms of who we are at the International Trade Center, the ITC. The ITC is a joint WTO and UN entity. So we have two parents. We have the UN and the WTO, the World Trade Organization. We're about almost 60 years old, I should say, and our main mission is really to work with SMEs to improve and help them export and trade. So it's all about improving the ability of SMEs to trade in a successful but also in a sustainable way. So that is our core mission. We're about 700 people worldwide, but our HQ, our headquarters, is based in Geneva. And for the past 10 years, my colleagues, Greg and myself and others, have been working on sustainable trade and improving sustainability in social and labor and environmental practices of SMEs that are looking to engage in global value chains. And so as we talk about this whole issue today of traceability and transparency, what do we really mean by that, and why is it important, and why is it important also from a, let's say, public and private perspective to work together. So we all know that from given, let's say 10 years ago, the whole issue of sustainability and value chains has become really a top of mind issue. It's no longer niche. I think maybe 10 years ago it was considered niche, but today more and more you see issues related to sustainability, social and environmental, becoming really important. And this is, it's been moving in this direction for many years. It's been also, let's say, pushed along by certain things such as the development of the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, but it's also been mandated by other issues that we see, whether it's climate change, whether it's issues related to social and labor type problems in value chains, and really looking at how we can actually come and deal with things like these black swans like COVID-19. So how do we really look at this in a very holistic way? Because more and more we find consumers demanding sustainability, we find governments demanding sustainability, and of course we find the NGOs that are demanding sustainability and value chains. But it's really, about these different, let's say, initiatives or different, let's say, mandates that are coming together from the consumer side, from the government side, from the, let's say, international public sector side. All of this is moving really in that direction. So we don't want to talk about traceability and transparency just for its own sake, just to have it, but rather for what it can bring. And what it brings is it brings credibility and it brings trust, both for the brands, but also for the SMEs, and also for the consumers that are buying these different types of products. It's a way to really to really show what people are doing in value chains, and to have to have trust in that. And so when we look at things in terms of, like, let's say the upcoming mandatory due diligence type initiatives in the European Commission context, or we find other, let's say, policy areas where sustainability is becoming more the norm, the issue of traceability and transparency is a way to prove that. It's a way to demonstrate that. And for us, it's also a way to empower SMEs. So many of you on the call today are small and medium-sized enterprises. You are working in various countries. Our mission at ITC is also to give you more power in the value chain, to give you an online presence, to let you take credit for what you are doing when it comes to your sustainable practices, to help you connect to markets, and to recognize and to have people, different actors, consumers, brands, the public sector, recognize the attributes that you have when it comes to your sustainable practices. So as you'll see later on in this seminar today, ITC, we have developed with ICS IT-based solutions to reference these upstream tiers of the supply chain, and make this methodology really a scalable solution that we can actually duplicate, that we can actually move into a larger, let's say, level of application. And this is, I think, giving confidence to all different types of stakeholders, whether it's the SME, the supplier, whether it's the brands, the buyers, whether it's public sector or international organizations and the like. So we think this is a very, very positive development. We think that this has to be implemented in partnership with multi-stakeholder initiatives like ICS. We think that we have to also leverage international funding. And so, for example, this project is also being supported by the European Commission, by DG International Partnerships in Brussels. And so this is something which is, again, the key here is partnership. And I think, given the new, let's say, post-COVID environment, and the fact that we have to, you hear this all the time, building back better, et cetera, this traceability and transparency work is really key to doing that. It is a way to really kind of move the needle, as we say, in this area. And so at ITC, we need to ensure also that the burden, of compliance and the technical and financial costs related to transparency and traceability, we want to make sure they don't become trade distorting or diversionary, especially after the shocks of COVID, because we all know that these are difficult days. Businesses are getting back on their feet after a very, very stressful last year and this year. And so we want to make sure that the SMEs that we work with are supported as much as possible. And that means that, the kind of methodologies that we're implementing with ICS also should support this. And so what do I mean by that? Well, be scalable. So have these solutions be scalable to be applicable to many different brands, all different types of SMEs that are supplying those brands. We also think that the solution should be neutral, so that users have the trust to put their data into the system, that the data will not be commoditized, the data will not be sold to other companies. And that's why, the UN platform, as Greg will mention later, is key to that neutrality and credibility. Again, it's also about engaging all the value chain actors, so not just the tier 1 suppliers, but looking into deeper tiers as well, but also being able to engage governments in this as well. And that's why we're working with the European Commission in this. And it's also about reducing costs, not to increase the costs. So we all know that costs, are something that we have to keep in mind. And so where we can go to scale, where we can pool our resources, where we can, work on best or good practices, that's important, to reduce costs. Also, we want to take a flexible and calibrated approach. So we make sure that we adapt our IT tools and methodologies to the needs of all the different stakeholders that are at the table and on the call today. So that's a challenge to do, but I think, as you'll see from the discussions that ensue today, we have really taken, I think, a very flexible and calibrated approach. And last but not least, I think we also want to endeavor to try to work also a bottom-up approach, where we empower the SMEs. We give them control. So we give the suppliers the control in terms of making transparency and traceability a competitive enabler for them, and not just another, let's say, type of compliance type issue. So we want to make it work for you. So that's more or less kind of what I wanted to leave you with today as we kick off this, I think, very exciting seminar. And again, very happy to be working in cooperation with ICS, with Carole and her team. And at this point, I'll hand it back. So thanks very much, and my best wishes for a very exciting morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Joe, and thank you again to all the participants who join from all around the world. This is technically challenging event, so many thanks to our long-standing partner ITC for digitally hosting it. We are really grateful to partner with ITC for this event and thrilled about the project we built together for years now. ICS is an international multi-sectoral initiative with the aim to enhance working conditions along the global supply chain of its members. ICS is composed of 53 multinational retailers and brands in the sector of textile, retail, footwear, electronics, furniture, food, and DIY, which market goods and to end customers with comparable risk inherent to the production chain, regardless of the regulatory context in which these members operate. For instance, in France, the duty of vigilance law depends on the size of the company. ICS collaborates with stakeholders to foster synergies between private and institutional actors. ICS enables member companies to collaborate with shared tools and to mutualize audit results to help reducing the number of repeated audits in factories. ICS members share their knowledge, challenges, and best practices in a non-competitive environment. After the assessment, ICS members undertake in accordance with their business relationship with the audited factories to implement the measures defined in the corrective action plans. The duty of vigilance is a path towards progress in transparency and accountability across global supply chains. A combined approach of audits and close cooperation with production plants to corrective action plans helps make supply chain management more sustainable. To complement these actions, capacity building and training projects can be carried out in partnership with ICS stakeholders, including the ITC, to strengthen the knowledge and improve practices of production site managers and workers. Transparency empowers factories to improve their working conditions by promoting their good practices and create a two-way communication between suppliers and buyers. Factories promote their best practices, brands map their supply chains on a secure and neutral platform, and promote their due diligence in measuring their suppliers' compliance and sustainability performance. Transparency tools and processes may be used to report grievances to related actors. The main need is to cross-check all data to ensure that the compliance level is always maintained in the factories. Mutualizations and collaboration is then key, and we fully believe that the open and mutual platform proposed by ITC with Sustainability Map will enable this. And today we will explain you how we try to facilitate your engagement on it. To develop views on the challenges to be addressed for transparency and traceability, we are really pleased to welcome today key experts for this online event. We will listen to Brown's point of view about transparency and traceability and how ICS members are concretely committed towards this direction. We will then illustrate how it fits the request from institutional guidelines and more legal frameworks requiring the development of duty of vigilance complementary tools as in European Union. We will then go through very concrete presentations to explain how to engage step by step in this big picture. The first challenge is to have this discussion through online video conference. And we thank you so much to be available for these discussions that we fully trust to be very fruitful for you and very constructive. So thank you very much to our speakers, partners, and again to the ITC stakeholders and brands to be online today. So I will let the floor to the ICS members, first with Camailleux.
Hi everyone, I hope you can properly hear me.
Yes.
Connection problem, but hope everything is fine now. So hi everyone, thanks to ICS for the invitation and to all the people connected from so many countries. Really happy to be able to exchange with you about this major point as traceability, and to share a little bit about the vision of Camailleux on these matters, and the point to onboard all our partners and suppliers on these very important topics for the coming season. So we did a very small presentation to introduce the Camailleux corporate CICR issues. As you may know, since 8 months, Camailleux has a new owner, which is a family company. So we have a lot of challenges for Camailleux, and one of the main challenges is, of course, all the CSR issues, with a special topic to the traceability. First of all, of course, in terms of due diligence, we are fully engaged in the full transparency of our supply chain regarding the CSR policy, whatever it is regarding our own policy or, of course, local and international regulation, that we are really commit to strictly follow, even get a little bit of advance as far as possible. We of course have to consider the risk management by our engagement in ICS-ITC traceability projects. We wish to strongly reinforce and onboard all our suppliers of the full supply chain to share together the risk management, because this is a common point. It's not only company, retailer or supplier. This is really a common point we all have to share and to manage all together. This is a partnership commitment for us. Of course, we have a strong customer request, whatever is retail brand, whatever is market size, whatever it is food or garments or anything. The customer request in terms of CSR traceability is stronger and stronger. It's not only, and it should not be only, of course, a marketing point. So we are fully engaged in this continuous approach to anticipate and trying to be as close as possible of our customer new expectation on all these matters that we really want to point out and to be fully part of the brand DNA and the working way as well. And of course, last point in terms of buying practice and supply chain, we want to improve our buying practice, relationship we have with our supplier, how we work on the full supply chain value, and by reinforcement of our traceability tools and action, we shall be much more efficient in our purchasing and responsible practice. But again and again, it has to be done with our partners, and this is really the way we want to go on. So again, I would like to thank all our partners in this new working way, whatever it is, ICS or ITC, to set up this very efficient traceability tool that will be a real help for our buyers and all the product teams, also for our suppliers. We have decided on our side to give the visibility of our factories to our customer. We took the decision yesterday to go on this new step, which is quite important. And we consider it's really a major point on our side. As you may see with these new tools, we can clearly get a full vision of our supply chain, whatever is a country, and the different supplier we can have on the different row. And of course, we'd like to thank all our suppliers and partners to go on with us on this project, and to always push us to go in this way. So thanks to all of you. I guess we have some of our suppliers on this video. So thanks to all of you, and really impatient to be able to share with you on all these points. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Alain. And I will give the floor to Carrefour now. Olivier?
Good morning, good afternoon to all. First, a big thanks for this ICS-ITC invitation for this webinar on this so important topic of traceability. The world is changing. More and more regulation from European authorities, more and more expectation from our customers happened in the last years in the quality field, but also in social and environmental compliance for the factories. Carrefour Food Transition made the traceability a key pillar of its strategy and extended it in the textile sector through a strong commitment. 100% of the raw material will be sustainable and traceable by 2030. Why 100% sustainable? Because we want to protect biodiversity and the environment for our planet. Why 100% traceable? 3 big reasons. First, it is requested by French authorities, devoir de vigilance, the French duty of diligence law, which requests the brand to record their supply chain, not only the assembling manufacturing unit, but also the dyeing mill, the knitting mill, the spinning mill, till the origin of the fibers. It is not anymore an option. It is a legal requirement, and it is compulsory for us. The second big reason is we need to ensure the development of the sustainable product through the certifications from all the supply chain members, which can guarantee the sustainability of the product. Organic cotton with a GOTS certificate, recycled material with GRS certificate, durable viscose, cashmere with animal welfare, jean waterless. It is necessary for all these products to know the raw material suppliers and their certification level. Third big reason, our customer expects to know where are done the product, including the raw material. And they want to ensure these products and material are done in good social and environmental conditions. As an example, Carrefour developed recently a blockchain in organic cotton to show to our customers all the detail of the supply chain, including got certificates from ginner, spinner, knitting mill, dyeing, sewing, and also the names of the farm where the cotton was harvested. This is today a specific program for Carrefour, but again, we will have to know our supply chain also for all the other Carrefour products. In addition to these 3 points, any risk of quality issue or supply chain disruption can be limited only if the suppliers knows well its full supply chain and its own suppliers in terms of production capacity, in terms of quality, and in terms of social and environmental practices. So yes, traceability and transparency are a key priority in the Carrefour strategy because it is the only credible way to develop a sustainable business with their suppliers and to develop the sustainable product to better protect our planet. So we rely on all our suppliers to make this chapter a key priority in their strategy by recording their supply chain in the Sustainability Map ICS-ITC tool in the next coming weeks and months. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Olivier, and we'll continue with Benoit from Tapaleuil.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, ITC and the ICS team for the great organization of this webinar and for giving us a voice today to share with us the commitment we have on CSR and our engagement in this project. So it's a real pleasure for me to talk in the name of Tapaleuil and all the brands involved in this great project. Maybe you can go to the next slide, please, Carol. So for the one who doesn't know us, Tapaleuil is a French fashion kidswear brand. We have more than 300 shops, mostly in France, but also Belgium, Poland, and other. And we realized several years back about the tremendous impact of our fashion business on the environment. And so we decided, after working on a better understanding of our impact globally, to build a strong CSR transformation roadmap around 4 pillars. Human, which include responsible sourcing and transparency. The ocean, all around waste management, plastic removal, chemical management. The climate, based on the strategy for eco-design product and eco-conception, and greenhouse gases emission reduction policy. And finally, biodiversity, mostly around the cotton sourcing and organic cotton. And for each pillar, several main subjects are addressed with a high ambition targeted for 2025. And the good news is that we are reaching in our roadmap ambition every year since then, and we are moving really fast. But we are meeting in this journey a turning point, the traceability. Anyone who works on a CSR transformation project knows how the traceability, transparency is the ground, the foundation of any CSR approach. And if you put that in the context that every members mentioned already, the increasing demands for transparency from our customer, the regulatory context that is moving really quickly with the brand's due diligence extended, and the complexity of our supply chain visibility, I hope you understand that how ITC ICS project presented today is really strategic for us and important for us all to move to a more sustainable fashion industry tomorrow. So I will pass the floor now to Fabrice to share with you our confidence into this project.
Thanks, Benoit. So good morning and good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Fabrice, working along with Benoit for Tapaleuil on all our CSR transformation plan. So Tapaleuil has joined the Initiative for Compliance and Sustainability, or ICS, in 2018. So we have decided to join ICS as it is a recognized social standard with a growing list of members, sharing the audit on a common portal, which represents actually many advantages as a brand. But being ICS audited is also a real asset for factories, as it's also rewarding the social strategy and action implemented by your suppliers, and also allowing them to gain visibility to European customers. Based on findings, it can also help to identify the weaknesses and improve with support of ICS and its members on all social matters. To date, 100% of our Tier 1 suppliers have been ICS audited. But ICS is not only about social or environmental audits. It's also a community of brands and suppliers facing the same challenges and difficulties in a fast-changing environment. And all these brands are working together for a more transparent and responsible supply chain. So Tapaleuil is very pleased and excited to be part of the Sustainability Map project with ICS and ITC. And we really believe that this project is a great tool to meet our objectives on transparency and traceability, with a target actually to trace up to the raw materials. We are also very pleased to see all the suppliers. We have been so many to attend to that presentation today. And it's really showing the interest also of manufacturers for more transparency. It's not only a brand challenge, it's a challenge in all the manufacturing industry, in a global context which is quite complicated and interconnected in an interconnected worldwide market. We are feeling very grateful in advance to all of you for your active participation by completing your online factory profile to declare and onboard your own suppliers and partners to get a mapping of our supply chain, being more responsible in our sourcing and reply to our customer demand for more traceability of production and responsible products. Thanks a lot in advance for your help. Your support is really essential to face current and future challenges. Thanks also to the ICS team and ITC team for arranging this presentation, and thanks to all the attendees for participating to the webinar.
Thank you very much, Fabrice and Benoit, and to all the brands. ICS members are really engaged in this project. Not only Carrefour, Camaïeu, and Tapaleuil, and more coming in the project. But it's really important to have leaders on this project as it is changing a lot the way to organize the business relationship also for you. So I will give the floor to Gregory in order to start the second part about transparency and traceability challenges and benefits. So to have really the big picture on that.
Thank you very much, Carole. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It's really a pleasure for us, ITC, the International Trade Center, an agency of the United Nations, to be doing this partnership with ICS and its members. Now, I will just take a few minutes to discuss why. Why is the United Nations, involved into this project? You've heard from the brands, the importance of transparency and sustainability. And we strongly believe that this is a new strategic imperative. This is really a way for us, the United Nations, to empower enterprises and factories, especially those enterprises and factories that have sustainable production and processing methods. And we strongly believe that it's no longer sufficient just to have a reliable supply chain, to know that your products can come at a specific point in time based on your orders. Now, traceability is critical. It's critical for sustainability. You cannot talk about sustainability without having traceability within your supply chain. Reason why this project is extremely important. In addition, what we aim to do with providing transparency to suppliers, to factories such as yourselves, is to bring visibility and also new market opportunities with new buyers, to also provide more efficiency in global supply chains, and to also shape regulatory standards. Now, one thing that's really important is that traceability cannot be achieved alone. This is why it is fantastic to involve all of you in this initiative. And this is why we need to reimagine the relationships between suppliers and customers. This is really aimed to be a win-win situation, both for factory suppliers and also for the ICS members. And we truly believe that at the end of the day, traceability, transparency, and sustainability will be a differentiating factor and will be providing a competitive edge and also providing new business momentum for all small, medium, large-sized enterprises. So I'll leave it up to here, then give the floor to Carole, and we will have the pleasure then to take you through the ITC Sustainability Map, which is the tool that you can use as of today, if you have received an invitation, to really benefit from this increased transparency and sustainability. Back to you, Carole.
Thank you very much, Greg. So just to complement that in few introduction words, so one of the most obvious benefits of supply chain transparency is maintaining business with existing clients. More brands and retailers are requiring the suppliers to disclose detailed information about the supply chain. Besides compliance with client requirements, what are the benefits of supply chain transparency for suppliers? The willingness to be transparent about the supply chains, share data with their clients, and implement responsible practices means to significant benefits for suppliers, both in the immediate and long term. We will see later on in the demonstration how this can help also to mutualize the information between initiatives and to share this mutualization, to share this data with your clients. The benefits of supply chain transparency for suppliers are many. As crucial members of the supply chain, suppliers have much to gain by prioritizing visibility and responsible sourcing. Transparency benefits suppliers by putting them in a strong position to keep up with client requirements and market expectations, setting up for success the immediate and long-term future. For us at the European level, legislation is being drafted referencing, among other things, transparency and traceability of global supply chains. The draft directive encourages transparency and stakeholder engagement, requiring undertakings to communicate due diligence strategies with workers, representatives, trade unions, and business relations. Undertakings will also be required to regularly verify that the subcontractors and supplier complies with their obligations. Suppliers who embrace transparency and facilitate client requests for information are highly preferred over those who are slow to respond and refuse the data requested. Supply chain transparency helps suppliers quickly capture and access the data they need and pass this time savings on to the clients. By choosing to be a responsive partner, suppliers can stand out from the competition to maintain existing business and potentially even gain new clients. In addition, transparency has the potential to enhance collaboration with other businesses within an industry. Collaboration allows for the more efficient use of resources when targeting challenges in sourcing. The public has an aversion to white violation and other scandal in the supply chain of the brands. This can result in the risk of lower sales and lower revenue. The very act of disclosing suppliers can have a strong mitigating effect on public perception when violations are found. In addition, transparency can actually help shield companies by preventing them from being erroneously blamed by consumers for violation and problematic practices among suppliers they no longer or have never worked with. We are partnering also with the UNECE, that is a part of the project for the recommendations and the policies regarding transparency and traceability. You can see that the implementation partners are for the European Commission's, the International Trade Center, together with us today, and the UNECE for the standards and the recommendations. It's really key to have a common understanding and a common data setup regarding transparency and traceability. And this is why it is very important for the ICS and the ICS members to build this partnership with institutions and to ensure that we are answering the European Commission's recommendations, and we are following the most important standards on that. So transparency practices like the pledge opened by the UNECE can have a positive impact on the company's reputations with regard to at least 5 stakeholders groups. The positive impact of transparency is both direct, demonstrating the company's commitment to human rights, and indirect, measured by other outcomes that are achieved. So this is a very important momentum for the brands right now, but also involving the suppliers, of course, and we hope that this webinar today will help you to understand that this can be also easy, and we will try to explain how to engage on that journey, and we have done our best in order to facilitate this for you, and in order to share with you tools that would help to make this possible and easy for you. So, Greg, I will let you start this very concrete presentations about the tools.
Great, thank you very much, Carole. So now we're moving to the second part of this webinar, which is really aimed to be pragmatic and to show how you, as suppliers of ICS members, can leverage a joint United Nations International Trade Center and ICS tool to gain additional visibility, transparency for a sustainable future. Before we start, I'd like to mention that we have over 300 participants to this webinar. As mentioned by our colleagues, the PowerPoints can be shared with you. And in addition, the recording will also be shared with the attendees. So this next part of this presentation is going to be broken down in 3 parts. I'll have the pleasure to introduce why, as a factory, as a supplier, you should be joining Sustainability Map. I will give you an overview as to what is the platform, the Sustainability Map platform, which is a free tool, which is available to you. And then I will give back the floor to Carole to provide you an information as to how it actually works. Could you please proceed with the next slide, Carole? And I will really be focusing right now on giving you again, why is it that we are doing it? So as mentioned by my colleague, Joseph Wozniak at the beginning of the call, the International Trade Center, we are established in Geneva, in Switzerland. We're a joint agency of the United Nations and the World Trade Organization. And our mandate is really to assist factories, enterprises, companies such as yourselves to compete more effectively in a global market. Now, moving a little bit about us and some of the solutions that we have at hand, those can really be broken down into 3 platforms. Now, the platform that we are going to be focusing on today is the Sustainability Map. As I've mentioned earlier on, it's a free online gateway developed by the United Nations, which enables companies to promote sustainable businesses, gain visibility in international supply chains, and connect to international buyers. Now, there are 3 platforms that may be of interest to you. Sustainability Map will truly be of interest, but let's take a look at another platform, which is called the Sustainability Gateway. The Sustainability Gateway is also developed by the International Trade Center. It is accessible by the URL that is being shown in green at the top of the screen, sustainabilitygateway.org. And this is a platform, it's not a tool, it's really a platform that presents various solutions made available by our organization, ITC, to accelerate the transition to sustainable and inclusive trade. And as companies, factories, enterprises, you may find some very practical information and training resources related to ways in which we could be supporting your business, women entrepreneurs, to enhance sustainable production practices, to scale up some of your sustainability dimension, find different ways in which you can collaborate and drive transparency and traceability. You will see that there is a whole section that is dedicated to ICS under the portfolio, and also key messages from some of the brands which are taking part in this project, and ways in which you can improve the visibility and connections to sustainable businesses. In addition, you will find some information about various forums, insights, and platforms. It's worth mentioning that we will be holding our annual event at ITC, the Trade for Sustainable Development Forum, at the end of September. We will be showcasing a lot of our portfolio and solutions which may be of interest to you, and we will make sure of sharing this information with you. Now, there are also 2 tools which can be of interest. So there is the Standards Map, which I am not going to go into a lot of details today, but where I'm just going to give you a little bit of information. So Standards Map, which is also available through the URL, which is shown at the top of your screen in green, www.standardsmap.org, is the world's largest database for sustainability standards, private codes of conduct, sustainability schemes. We have over 300 standards which focus on over 80 products, industries, and on over 150 countries. So what is really important and what can be of interest to you is to actually review out of our 300 standards, which may be of interest to your company if you were to want to move towards sustainable production and trade. And what you can do is review information, let's say about Amfori, BSCI, about the SEDEX SMETA, about the ICS audit, side by side, and compare those standards through over 1,650 criteria. All of the information is neutral. It's being entered and quality reviewed by a team of experts at ITC and also by the sustainability standards. And this is really a great tool for you to actually review standards, codes, which may be of interest to you, which may be requested by some of your suppliers, and to maybe see what is the overlap, in terms of requirements and potential compliance between different standards. And you can even conduct some free self-assessment tools, which can be made available to you for free on the platform. So this is not going to be the focus of this presentation today, but it is most certainly a piece of material and information which is worth checking out. Now, really what we're going to be focusing on today is Sustainability Map. And Sustainability Map is a fascinating platform which is really built to promote the future of sustainability. And really at the core of this Sustainability Map is 3 potential users. It's to empower factories, enterprises, companies which are committed to sustainable production, and really to try to increase the business potential. Now, we also work very closely with brands, international brands, that support sustainable sourcing, as discussed by the brands, by my colleagues. Sustainable sourcing, transparency, traceability is becoming a key requirement from not only customers, but also governments. And Sustainability Map leverages some of the latest technology advancements to really try to build bridges between data sources. And you'll see that by engaging in this platform, you can gain free unique identifier that will enable you to trace the origin of your products. We're also working very closely with some of the standard setting organizations that were displayed in Standards Map to actually validate some of your certificates. So if you become visible on Sustainability Map, which we'll show you in just a minute, we can actually directly certify that if you make a claim that you are certified to GOTS, we can say, yes, this company is indeed certified to GOTS, Global Organic Textile Standard, because we receive data from Global Organic Textile Standard, and we can indeed see that the claim that is being made by a company is indeed valid. And this is very much a direction that we are working on right now, working with GOTS, with Textile Exchange, Oecotex, among other initiatives. And all of this is really based on strong data privacy and confidentiality on the United Nations servers. So now let's take an actual look at the partnership with ICS and the vision. So the vision is, as of today, we have about 60,000 companies. We're engaged with the 54 ICS members. We're working with 8 sustainability initiatives, which I mentioned, the GOTS, the Textile Exchange, the Oecotex, amongst others. And our vision is really by 2025 to have over 1 million businesses referenced on the platform and to be the world's largest network of sustainable businesses, to really be in a position to be working with over 300 international brands, and to have a wide spectrum of collaboration with standard setting organizations that can validate sustainability claims on some of your production and process modes. Now, when it comes to the partnership with ICS, it started back in 2018. And, we're really focusing on 2 pillars: on a transparency solution, where we enhance the visibility of some of the ICS members and brands and of their suppliers' value chain. And we're also working with ICS to find ways in which traceability can be built within global supply chains, enabling some of the ICS suppliers to inform customers and policymakers and governments about the traceability of the value chain, which means where is it that you sit within a given transaction. So these are really the two pillars that we're focusing on. And we've seen the project accelerate a great deal. Now, in terms of the benefits for the factories, they're essentially fivefold. And this answers the question, you know, what is it that I get if I take part in this initiative? Now, what's really important is that it's very easy. It's very simple, you know. And in 3 clicks, you can go from having an ICS factory profile, which you probably already have, you know, to actually gain some visibility and really become the top of the iceberg. So right now, you can really imagine an iceberg as, you know, being 95% below the water. And that's your ICS factory profile. It's under the water because it's private. No one sees it, you know, other than the ICS members. But what about customers? What about other clients? What about other potential visibility? And this is really what you can do by just gaining a factory ID. So we'll be using 2 terms here. You're familiar with the ICS factory profile, and in just a few clicks, you can have a factory ID, which is going to give you visibility on this sustainability map platform. Imagine it like a big LinkedIn, you know, or let's say a Facebook, except that unlike Facebook, your data is very safe with us. It sits within United Nations servers. It will never be shared with anyone else unless you allow us to make it public on the platform. And that's the only people we'll be sharing the data with. So now in terms of the 5 value propositions, let me go through them. So the first one is very much built, as I've mentioned before, about gaining visibility towards potential buyers looking for sustainable products. And we have a large number of brands, you know, that come to the platform. We're doing a lot of partnership of brands that are looking to source sustainable products to respond to the requirements from their customers and due diligence laws that are being implemented in a lot of European countries. What you can do also is you can create an online profile and you can really manage your data and make it, you know, interesting to your various stakeholders. And we will even generate a QR code. You know, these are the black and white codes which can be placed on any products, any stickers, which can enable you to then have customers maybe or intermediaries in a supply chain to QR code and to get to this profile to find out more about you. Thirdly, you can easily back up your certification and sustainability claims. So as a supplier, let's say you comply to GOTS and to Textile Exchange and to Oecotex and to other initiatives, right? How complex is it for a buyer to actually check the validity of these certificates? Very often you have to send PDFs, you have to send them to potential registries of these sustainability standards to check the validity, see whether your company has a valid certificate. What we are trying to do as the United Nations and as part of the Sustainability Map is to build a certified business registry. Imagine a one-stop shop where buyers go, your factory A, they check out your profile and they can see all of your certificates which are validated by the different entities. Yes, I am GOTS and I validate the certificate of this brand, or we, I should say, as the UN, validate the validity of this GOTS certificate based on the data that we receive from GOTS and the information that we have from this company. Now, fourthly, you can also showcase the network of brands that you are already sourcing to, supplying to. And, you know, it's fantastic that the ICS brands, you know, are coming on board and are making this information available, which will make even your business, you know, more trustworthy towards additional businesses. Last but not least, I know we've mentioned it a few times, but it's really the response to regulations. Governments are asking for it, which means that if you do not do it, you may be losing out on potential business opportunities. So this is also our way as a United Nations to try to contribute to this move and ensure that there are no disruptions in business practices. So now let's get to the next part of the presentation, which focuses on what is the platform. So as I mentioned, the platform allows factories and suppliers to update their information. And all of this happens in the ICS database. So as part of the ICS database, and this is really something that Carole will show you practically, you know, and step by step where you have to click and what you have to do. But what I'll focus on now is the ICS factory profile, the factory ID, and the privacy. So let's focus on the ICS factory profile. The ICS factory profile has information about your business, some general information, identification, data about manpower, factory area, products and production processes, and environment. And now all of this factory profile is digital, which means that you enter this information online. Now, a second element that is also available as part of the solution, and Carole will go more into details about some of these items, is the factory ID. And the factory ID is just a few data points that are taken from the ICS factory profile. ICS factory profile stays with the ICS members. It's not shared with everyone. But what the factory ID does is that it takes few bits and pieces of information you have already entered as part of this ICS factory profile and makes it available on Sustainability Map. It makes you become that top of the iceberg. And the information that is taken from the factory profile is general information again, but very few data points, contact details, address in case you want to do new business deals, information about your production and processes, and it asks you a few extra information. What's the size of your business? Do you have social media? Do you have a website? Such information. But literally, it takes you 3 clicks, to then get your factory ID and to really focus, on providing information about your contacts, production, very few information about the ICS report. So here we're not talking about providing the entire ICS report, quite the contrary. We're just providing information, saying, yes, there was an audit that took place at that date, and this is pretty much it. And Carole will say more about this, but it's very few data points, that can give you more information and also provide more credibility towards potential buyers. And there is also your geolocalization so that you actually appear on an actual map. Last but not least, privacy is key to us. Data governance, data management is extremely important. As a result, it's you that actually takes the decision to become visible. It's you that take the decision to go and get and receive a factory ID. So in terms of privacy, we've got these 2 components, the factory profile, the factory ID. The factory profile, it stays private. It's only available to ICS and ICS members, and it's managed through the ICS platform. Now, the factory ID is that option that enables you to go public. It's available to customers, to clients, to everyone, and it's protected under the United Nations data policy. So without any further ado, I will now leave the floor to Carole to really focus on the next part of this presentation that shows you what this platform looks like and how it operates. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Greg. So the last part of the presentations is to go step by step to the tools. So you have started to receive some invitations from the ICS members, or you will be receiving these invitations in the coming weeks, in the coming months. The first step, as explained, is in the ICS process is the factory profile, and this factory profiles is now organized through the ICS database. So you will receive by the notification from the ICS database the access to the ICS database. This database is in link with Sustainability Map, so it is the first step for you to complete the factory profile. If you have lost your password, you will be requested to add your email address in order to receive your login and password and to receive everything. However, this you will be allocated by the ICS member by the brands directly to this first step. You will be provided with your first access to the ICS database. So some of you may recognize the ICS database that is already used for the corrective action plan, that is already used for the checklist we have developed last year in order to discuss with you the measures implemented to prevent the propagation of the pandemic. Now we have added this factory profile in link with Sustainability Map in the ICS database. So it is for you the first step to do so. And in order to facilitate the access for you, as you are used to the ICS database, we have added this first step in the ICS database too. So you are requested to change your password to a personal one and to go there in sustainability in the factory profile in order to answer the questions that are requested. So those questions are about the identification, and you can see there that the ICS factory profile is used after that to create the ITC factory ID, and we will see how this ITC factory ID provides you with a QR code in order to present to Sustainability Map your factory, also explaining the certifications you can have or the projects you can have regarding sustainability. So you receive your access to the ICS database. You have this welcome page proposes explaining the project with e-learning there, and we will explain at the end the e-learning. You have some videos on this projects, and you can go step by step. The first step is to complete your factory profile. Then you are requested to complete and to add some media, some other details about your factory, and then to go for a public profile on the ITC. So this is the factory profile. You have to answer 81 questions, but you will see that most of the questions are closed questions. So you have some list to answer the questions. You have some proposed answers, and you have to complete this factory profile with some information about the identification, the photo of the main entrance, and some details about the organization of the factory, the manpower, and so on. As explained by Greg, the complete factory profile is private, but some parts are taken into account in order to create this factory ID. So to go through some questions, so you have some mandatory questions, very simple, but you have to add the factory name, to add it in the local language as the factory address to the GPS coordinates. You have to go to some information about the manpower of in your factory, to explain in which purchase department you are working. These purchase departments are based on the HS code. We have tried to standardize and all the informations, and you have some guidance on the ICS database. You can click on the logo and you will find some guidance, for instance, for the purchase department, but you have also guidance translated first in Chinese, but we will add some additional translations for the guidelines in the coming weeks also. You have to answer about the organization of the factory. So first of all, which are the production processes that are organized inside in your factory? So what is the production process, for instance, in building 1? What is the address of this building, the number of floors, and the surface of this building? And you can add this, and you can add additional production process if needed. Clicking on that, you can remove some columns if you want, and you have after that some automatic calculations about the surface and so on. What is really important is the part about your subcontractors and the raw materials. As you have understood, the project is about transparency, but also about traceability. And this traceability is really important for the brands to understand and to go step by step further down in the supply chain regarding also the social compliance and then the environmental compliance and so on. So what is requested from you is to identify this production process and raw materials through the factory profile. And then we will see how your partners can be invited also to this project and how they can engage and gain visibility also for this project. So in the external production processes, you can declare that, for example, you have washing or dyeing or some production process subcontracted to some partners. So you have to declare these subcontractors, and you have also to detail the address and so on. And you have to name the upstream company, for instance, if this washing unit is your direct unit contracting with the factory, you have to declare them as tier 2 and to declare your name as the company's name working directly with this washing unit. As you have suppliers, maybe you have the understanding and you have the knowledge about tier 2, but also tier 3, and so on, and tier 4 and tier 5. And as suppliers, you can declare whatever is the tier 1 of the inside the supply chain, and then you can declare whatever is the one, you can declare all the units you are working with in the supply chain with this system. And this would help to organize it. And this is really a request from the brands. And this will really recognized by the brands to have your commitment on that and to engage your partners in the traceability schemes using this process too. In this second part, you have exactly the same process for raw materials, and you have to declare the provenance and the partners you have for the raw materials and components too. The list of questions is exactly the same as the production processes. When you were working in the with the Excel and with ICS, you are already used to this kind of questions. It was for years and years, it has been added to the factory profile. So it's exactly the same, but divided in two tables, one for the subcontractors and one for the raw materials now. After that, you are also able to add any certification you can have or any audits you want to declare. The project is also done in order to help the mutualizations between the initiatives. As already said by Gregory, the ITC is working closely with GOTS, with Ecotex, with Textile Exchange. I've started discussions with Unfurry, and we hope that in the coming years, in the coming months and years, and later on, more and more initiatives will be part of the projects. And this is why we have chosen with the ICS to work with ITC, because as institutions, they are able to build this network and they are able to work closely with all the initiatives. The database from the initiatives are not organized in the same way and are not as in ICS, and it may take sometimes some months or maybe some years to build the same kind of interface that we have between ICS and ITC. But this project, and it's also a request from the European Union, should at the end allow the initiatives to be part of it in a very simple way. Waiting for direct interface, direct API between the database from other initiatives, we are collecting information also about other certifications, and we know that it's a challenge for you to share information, to have several systems of audits. But as you have understood also, it is also linked to the regulations that are sometimes not exactly the same, depending on the country, on the countries. And in France, our brands have to answer a very strengthful regulations with the duty of vigilance. This is why it's up to the brands to decide which audits, which system they will accept or not. But we are trying to help you on that challenge and to collect more and more information. So you can add in the system the CEDEX or the SMETA or the GOTS or any or for food industry also the GRASP or something like that. You can add the proofs of the audits and the certifications you already have from other initiatives. And last but not least, so this is a summary of the mandatory questions that are organized in the platform. The other questions are not mandatory, but we would be really happy if you can go through and answer as much as possible information in the ICS database. You are also provided with guidance and information on that. And then, having done so, you are requested to click on the complete part. You have to answer all completed, all the mandatory questions, and to click on complete to validate your answers. After that, you can go to the factory ID. The factory ID, so it's the second step, as explained by Greg, and this factory ID collect data from the factory profile, so the name and the address. You are requested to answer some additional questions that are UN questions, also about the genders issues and so on. And you can use also this part to promote your factory, to promote your sustainability commitments, to provide some additional description, explanation of your company, and you can add different media on that. So you just have to save them. Then you can go to privacy. And regarding the privacy, you have to summarize of the factory ID, and then by clicking on this part, you can decide to go for a public profile. You can see on Sustainability Map already a lot of public profiles. As said, more than 1,000 of factories from the ICS network have been already invited to this project, and we have already more than 400 factories that have accepted this public profile. And you can see that they have presented their geolocation, production, and so on. And when you go for a public profile, you are provided with the QR code, and you can use it also to promote your factories, as they will be available on Sustainability Map. So it is presented with the geolocation also, and with the production, and with the network. This is an example with a QR code available, and you can receive it through the ICS database when you accept to go for a public profile. You can delete your public profile by doing so to the ICS database whenever you want, and you can do it in this way. So after that, you can go also to the step 4, and the step 4 is about traceability. This step is really important in the ICS process. So, as said already, you have to declare the factories that are partner of you, so your subcontractors, but the raw materials also, and so on. And then once you have declared them, you can by yourself invite those factories to be part of the projects, and to complete their factory profile, and to have also their QR code, and so on, and to promote their activities through Sustainability Map in the same way. You just have to go on this part, traceability, and you just have to click there on this action, and this action will send the logging, the password, and the factory profile request to your partners. So this is the listed subcontractors are declared in the factory profile, and they will receive everything. By this very easiest way, by clicking on this action. At the end, we have also prepared some e-learnings, and I will let the floor to Nina in order to present the e-learnings that you can use to have further explanation on that.
Hi everyone, just a few words on the different e-learnings that are available on the ICS website, on the ICS database. You have a specific tab that is right on the right-hand side with all of the e-learnings. So these are short videos, up to 5 minutes each. So you have the e-learning on your login and your password. So how to log in onto your database, how to change your password, how to access the factory profile, how to fill in certain questions that are obligatory. So you have a little asterisk, just like Carol has said, which are obligatory, which are mandatory, so you need to fill them in. If you don't do that, then you will not be able to complete the factory profile. You also have an e-learning on your factory ID. The factory ID and the transparency and the traceability of your supply chains. So we had a question on the factory ID and the QR code. So once you decide to go public, you will automatically receive a QR code that you can share. So this is free of any charge. So don't worry, it's not, you don't have to pay for it. So these e-learnings are available on the ICS website, database, and there are also e-learnings that have been developed by the ITC directly. You will need to just have your login for the sustainability map, and you will be able to access those e-learnings as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Nina. And just to conclude on this part, the very concrete presentation of this platform, you can see on the screen the sustainability map database, so the network. You can select there the data source, and for instance, you can go to the ICS network. You can select also the GOTS, the climate change, or some other initiative already part of this project. You can go to some profiles. For instance, one of the profile like this one, you can go there and view the complete profile as declared by the factory. So you can see there that this factory has detailed its presentation. So this is coming from the ICS database, explaining that this factory has been audited with a social audit in 2020, with an environmental audit in 2019. You can see the geolocation of this factory, the production, also additional certification, so GOTS, textile change, and so on. And the network is available also. The network is available only with factories that have altogether accepted the transparency. So, for instance, when a factory has invited their subcontractors, the network is available in this way, linking this factory with its subcontractors and so on. And for instance, you can also see the network coming from the brands that have published their information as explained by Camailleux this morning. And so all ICS members are preparing their network because this has to be prepared by the brands themselves in order to build the networks between them and their tier one. And later on, the factories will build the networks with their partners. So this will be organized tier by tier. But this can be promoted also to your partners, and this helps to understand and to be publicly available also for the end consumers or for any stakeholders. This helps to understand the global view as proposed by Sustainability Map. And so this achieves the goals for transparency and traceability. So we have gone through the complete presentation, and maybe we can have now a long time for questions to answer your questions, as you are so many connected today, and we are really happy to have this interest. So we will go to your questions. So Cécile and Nina, if you need to, if you can dispatch the questions to the speakers.
Sure. So thanks to all the participants, because we received several very relevant questions. So we have responded to some of them directly in the chat, so you can find them in the question and answer box. But we still have some others to ask you directly. So to the panelists, primarily maybe to ITC, and of course ICS can complement the reply. So a question that was asked several times under different forms is the complementarity, the relationship, the possible collaboration and mutualization between different standards in this project and in the platform. So you have, of course, touched upon this, but maybe it's worth it if you can complement the replies. So the specific question was on the collaboration, for example, with SA8000, with RAP, SADX, BSCI, SMEDEC, etc. So we first, and then ICS could complement.
I'm not sure. Hi, Greg, Carole. I'm not sure if you understood the question.
Could you please come again? Apology for this.
No, no worries, no worries. So just there was a question on the relationship or possible collaboration and mutualization between different standards. So we had questions on SMETA, on BSCI, RAP, SA8000, and so on and so on. If you could just elaborate on that.
Yes, absolutely. Maybe I will give the insight, first of all, from an ITC perspective, and then I will give the floor to Carole to provide information from the ICS side. So when it comes to the ITC, we do, of course, see collaboration between standards to be extremely important. And this is one of the reasons why we started this journey 10 years ago, developing Standards Map, which really enables you to put side by side different standards and to see potential areas where harmonization could happen, you know, rather than having standards that operate in silos, to actually provide ways in which we can provide transparency about standards, put them side by side, and actually realize that maybe there are some areas or even entire blocks of criteria, you know, which are exactly the same between different standards, which could explain, or minimally different, which could explain that there could be some kind of mutual recognition, you know, which operates between standards, so that if you comply to standard A, maybe compliance to standard B could be de facto provided, if not on the entire standard, maybe on some parts of the eventual audit. When it comes to this vision of also working together under one common umbrella, we also see Sustainability Map as being the stepping stone in enabling those standard setting organizations to use the map to also display their certified businesses, which means that, you know, right now you can see the businesses that comply to Global Organic Textile Standard. But what we really want to do is also attach any other certificates, you know, to the ICS Factory ID, which are available on the platform. And we're starting to see more and more collaboration on that front, whereby standards actually want to work together to have more transparency and visibility about their certified businesses. I will now leave the floor to you, Carole. Should you like to take that question as well from the ICS standpoint?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Greg. We know that it's a very big challenge for you to have to answer to the different standard. However, as said, it's really also a risk analysis from the brands that have to answer some specific regulations too. In France, we have to answer, the brands have to answer the duty of vigilance law that is requesting to organize the plan of vigilance and to for the brands to take the responsibility of their measurements and to take the responsibility of the prevention of any risk in their supply chains. This is really important, and this also explains why in the ICS system, the ICS members are managing completely the audit process. So defining the audit window period, choosing the audit firm, and so on. Because it is in the French regulations, it is their duty to do so, and it is their duty not to cascade the responsibility, but also to organize this responsibility. And this is why sometimes they are not able to accept audits that are that have been totally organized by the factory itself, and because this is not answering the duty of vigilance. But we know this constraint for you, and this is why we are working closely with ITC. So first of all, since 2015, providing the requirements of ICS to standards maps, and then later on to sustainability map. So this would help you to promote the ICS audit report also done to customers, and to explain your engagement, your commitment to this certification and audit process.
Yeah, and just maybe to follow up on those two responses also from the ITC perspective. And also I saw some of the questions in the chat related to other codes. So just to answer one of the questions, like BSCI and SMETA are also in the standards map database that Greg mentioned earlier in his presentation. So there are over 300 codes of conduct. We have codes of conduct and standards we have in the standards map database, and many of those are social and labor type codes of conduct and standards, among which BSCI and SMETA are there. One other thing in terms of these, the questions on these different types of standards, RAP, BSCI, GOTS, ICS-ITC, these are all in the standards map database. One of the things that we do in our team, and my colleague who manages this process is, I don't think he's online yet, or he's not online in the call, but we do benchmarking. And this benchmarking is aimed at really creating a harmonization or an alignment between these different initiatives. The only thing is that, for that benchmarking to really work, we have to have those initiatives on board with the benchmarking. So we need to bring any initiative that wants to benchmark themselves against another standard at the table. But we've done that in a variety of sectors and in a variety of cases. And the reason is to obviously say, if you're certified or verified to standard A, then that is de facto more or less meaning you're certified to standard B. But you have to have those standards at the table in order to agree upon that mutual recognition or that alignment. If not, then it won't be accepted by the initiative. So, that's one of our roles as well, to try to drive more, let's say, convergence, alignments with these standards to reduce the costs for SMEs. And the like. So that is something that we are, as a team, are willing to do. But again, we have to work with those specific initiatives, in order to make that happen in a real context. Otherwise, what you could do is you could look at the data that Greg mentioned, in the standards map database. You can go online and you can compare and contrast visually for yourself to see the overlaps in the criteria. but that will not, if you will, suffice for an official, let's say, audit or compliance or you know, things like that. And so, you know, in the absence of that, again, an official type of benchmarking process would have to take place. Thanks.
So we have another question, maybe again for ITC mainly, from a supplier in the chat. How can registering in this platform help me get new customers to our factory? So maybe you can elaborate a bit more on that. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And this is an excellent question. And we'll be also, once again, you know, sharing the slides with you after this presentation. So it's very important to have some visibility. And what we are doing right now with this sustainability map is giving visibility to companies that already have sustainable modes of production and processing. Now, a potential buyer, retailer, may not go directly to your website to find out more about you. What we're trying to do as part of the sustainability map is to really provide a repository, a bit like a big phone book, you know, which can enable a buyer that is looking to source a specific product from a specific country, which complies to specific sustainability attributes, to find a new supplier and to find out more about that supplier. And this is where, by being visible on the map, a buyer can come, understand what is your business, what you're interested in, what are your sustainability attributes, and get in touch with you. And also, as being part of this sustainability map, you can also inform your buyer and potential future buyer of your willingness to be part of this transparency and traceability movement that will really give you a competitive edge over any other potential supplier. So it is a platform that is already accessed by hundreds of retailers, you know, and we strongly encourage you to log into this. I hope that answers your question. Please feel free to provide to ask additional questions.
Hi, Greg. So we have another one that is not for ITC. It is for Carrefour. So we have a question that is the Carrefour blockchain solution for traceability public? And if it is, where can we access it?
Yes, for the blockchain, in fact, to accede to this blockchain, there is a QR code in the tag of the product. So the customer can scan this tag and then accede to all the information of the blockchain. The access is really in the store of Carrefour through the tag of the product. I hope it's clear.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Olivier.
So now another question, maybe back again to ITC. So we have responded directly on the chat, but we received it several times. So maybe it's worth it if you can explain it once again orally. So is the platform, the tool, the system completely free for any user? Is the QR code generation also completely free? So that is the first question. So we'll let you confirm that once again. And the sub question would be, or maybe more of a comment, that sustainability is cost involved in terms of long term. So do we all together, or do you have plans in the future to financially support factories? So maybe that's more of a broader comment. But if you'd like to confirm this on ITC side.
Yeah, great. Thank you. These are relevant, very relevant questions. So I can confirm indeed that the platform is free today, and it will be free tomorrow, and it will be free forever. Our intention is not to start something and start charging, the users in the future, be it factories, enterprises, companies, or brands. We are the United Nations. This is a global public good. And quite literally, doing the process, you're doing your factory profile, 3 clicks, you get your factory ID, and it's free. And what's really important to note is that both the ITC Sustainability Map platform and the ICS database are in sync. They talk to each other, which means that updating information in one platform also ultimately updates the information in Sustainability Map. So indeed, it is free, and it is going to be free for a very long time. And what was the second question again? Sorry.
The second question was more of a comment/question on the fact that sustainability.
The financing. Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you. Absolutely. So from an ITC standpoint, we do not finance directly companies. That being said, Sustainability Map is indeed, also accessed by potential green investors, or can also be used as a means to showcase banks, or financial investors that you have sustainable production processing methods, which may lead to preferential rates when it comes to actually making the investment into sustainability. And we have already done a few pilot projects, that focus in other industries, which are mainly in agriculture, focusing on bananas, cocoa, coffee, where companies go to the platform, showcase the sustainability, and actually attract more advantages, I should say, green type of investments. But this is something that may definitely be an avenue that we will expand, from working on this in the agricultural sector to more retail sector. Carole, would you like to add something to this?
Yes, I would like to complete on that, as maybe some of you have also been requested to be part of additional projects we have developed with, we are partnering with ITC2. Those projects have been started first in Morocco, then in Tunisia, and then in Vietnam, where the factories that are able to engage in this project are coached about their sustainability practices. This kind of project is totally funded and have been developed in order to promote guidance in those countries regarding the use of resources and to engage in reductions or circular economy regarding the use of water resource or energy resource and so on. This is the kind of projects we would like to extend, and we have started discussions with funders and with the French Agency of Development, and we are trying to make our best in order to propose you this kind of additional project too. But of course, this has to be the long sustainability is a long journey, has to be discussed also directly with your buyers, but as it is a request from the consumers, it is a journey to be achieved together by the brands, by the suppliers, and by the factories. And this sustainability journey is also a big challenge for the brands themselves, and a big investment for the brands themselves. Okay, additional questions, Nina or Cécile? Marine?
Yeah, I have a question which is more for you, Carole. The question is back to which node or which rank of the supply chain is it going back?
So we want to achieve what is really challenging, the complete journey of the product. So this is to say that the goal is really to go until the raw materials. This is a big challenge, and we already know that it's really difficult to achieve. This is the goal also in the French regulation, so it is in discussions to have what is said the affichage social and affichage environnemental. So there is a lot of regulations coming from everywhere in France, but also from the European Union in order to be able for the brands to detail what are the provenance and what is the journey of each product. We know that we already know that it's really difficult, and this will be something in which all actors have to be engaged. And this is why we have started this project, and we try to help you by providing you tools to do so in order to work closely with the brands to achieve this goal.
Okay, thank you, Carol. Another question for you and also for ITC. The question is, what advantage will it give to the factory to make their profile public? And the second sub-question is if you can re-explain shortly how to create a factory ID.
So for the first question, the first benefit for the factories and suppliers to go to this public profile is to promote your commitment to sustainability. It's really to be transparent and to be able to provide information to all your customers. Sometimes some of you are coming to the brands or directly to the ICS, asking how I can promote that I've been audited by ICS. Then you can promote it by doing so in the platform. So this is done by the ICS report provided there. And this report helps also to promote any certification that you can have. So for instance, there you can also add GOTS, Ecotex, and so on. So this would help the buyers to understand that you are already engaged in this process. You are engaged in the sustainability journey, and so additional information that you can use also in this platform is to go to Sustainability Gateway, to be provided with the e-learning, to go with standards maps in order to compare the standards and so on. So what we are proposing with this kind of platform is to help you to understand all the topics linked to transparency and traceability, and to engage in this sustainability journey. And to go and to obtain this factory ID, to have this profile on Sustainability Map, you have to go to the ICS database, and to go step by step. So we will send you the complete presentation for this part. You will be able to review the presentation and to go on it. Sorry for that. In order to use the ICS database, in order to use the invitations that you will receive from the ICS members, you will be provided with the access by the ICS members to the ICS database, and by answering the questions in the ICS database, you will be able to go to prepare your factory ID. So you can see there that you have the factory profile, you answer the factory profile, and then the questions are taken into account, and the informations that we have already in the ICS database confirming that you have been audited to ICS and so on, are used to build the factory ID, and then you just have to go to the privacy, and in order to accept this privacy, and in order to publish your factory profile, your factory ID. So this is really organized in between the database. So for you, you receive the invitation for in the ICS database. You go to these steps. You click, I want my profile to be public, and that's all. So 3 clicks, factory profile, factory ID, privacy, and that's all. You will have your factory ID on the ICS, on the sustainability map, you will be then able to use your QR code to access it. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much, Carol. There is another question which is more from the ITC team. The question is it indicated on the sustainability map whether a claim or a certification is checked by ITC or not? And the point is there a difference between self-reported certification and verified certification?
Yeah, excellent question. Thank you very much. Yes, there is a difference. We treat the two as being very different. You know, when it comes to self-reporting, as much as we believe, you know, that there is goodwill on the part of everyone to provide truthful information, there is no guarantee on the part of the buyer or potential buyer about the validity of a claim. A PDF can be uploaded, a picture can be uploaded, but nowadays with technology, information can be changed. A date, a validity date can be changed. Now, with this collaboration that we are having with sustainability enablers, with sustainability standards such as GOTS, Textile Exchange, Urcotext, which are sharing their data with us directly, we do make a difference. And if we recognize that the data coming from them matches information that comes from you, then we do that. This is not self-verification. We validate the claim. We say that to the best of our knowledge, and using a set of algorithms, we can actually showcase, you know, that the data actually originates from another data source. In the example that Carole is showcasing right now, there is information about the ICS report, but there is also information about some certifications. Carole, if I can invite you just to click on the tab certification, you can actually see, you know, information that comes from GOTS, Textile Exchange, you know, but this data was not entered by the ICS company. This was automatically attached to their profile based on the data that we received from GOTS and Textile Exchange. Carole, you can go to the geolocation tab as well. And this is also information that is provided automatically to the system. You literally have to make 3 clicks to gain some visibility. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, thank you. So again, another question, which is more, the first part is more for Carole, regarding the raw materials. How do you manage the cotton origin, for instance, since there are many mix of origin at the spinning level? How to declare all the origin of the cotton? Should the factory declare all the origin per order of yarn? How will it work to ensure the declared information? And the second question, which maybe is more for the ITC, it's regarding goats. Are there going to be documents shared regarding analysis to ensure that there are no pesticides or GMOs?
A lot of questions. Those questions are not really simple, and we already know that it will be challenging to answer all these goals all together. However, what we have decided with the ICS members is to go step by step. To first, the journey to traceability and transparency is starting by the mapping. And the mapping has to be done first, later on with some verifications to understand if the mapping is correct, and then to go to with solution and tools to confirm the claims and so on. So the first step is really about the mapping, and after that we will see how to organize everything for further steps. So the goal is challenging for all the actors, and we have the brands have to work with their suppliers to achieve it, and this is why the first step is to request the declaration of the provenance for the raw materials and so on. Regarding the second part of the questions, which kind of additional certification could help? We within ICS we are focused on some parts regarding the social compliance and the environmental compliance, but not addressing all the challenges. So this is why this kind of platform using a sustainability map can help also to promote other kind of certifications regarding the fertilization, regarding the biotechs and so on. And this is why it will be useful to do so also later on.
Okay, thank you, Carol. We have another question about the IP from China. So they have questions on whether that would be included in the project in the near future or not. Thank you. For Greg, maybe, or Carol.
Yeah, maybe Greg. Do you want to answer the question?
The question about IP and China. Apology, I'm not sure I understood the question.
The question is if they would be included in the project in the future, the IP organism from China.
Yes, the IP is an organism, an initiative for declaring the environmental commitments. So it's a map of factories working with really engaged in environmental performance. So it could be really helpful to have them in the projects, and maybe we can discuss with them later on. Right now, IP is not part of the project, but we know that this map is really interesting, and we will see later on. Okay. Another question?
Okay, thank you, Carol. So we have further questions. For example, if they have several production facilities across the globe and only have a local office as a main contact point, the question is how would they register to Sustainability Map? How does the process work in that case?
For that case, it's really important that the buying office, maybe acting as a supplier for this group of factories, declare the full list of factories within the factory profile. And in the traceability part, they will be able to retrieve this list of factories and to invite them in the process later on. This is the part about traceability. And so you can see there that when the factories have been declared by the upstream tier, whatever it is, they are engaged in the project, and they can be invited really simply by clicking on that.
Okay, thank you, Carole. Another question is if there would be any risk by declaring the public profile for subcontractors and for other processes if the company's know-how is revealed.
The factory profile is really really simple. It's the company profile is summarizing few information. It's summarizing the address. It's summarizing if the factory has been audited, geolocation, productions, but production is not really detailed, and certification and network. So as most of the factory has already this on the external website. It's no more than an external website. What is added on this part is information coming from the initiatives about the ICS reports and the certifications. But if you have already registered your company to in the ecosystem, if you have an external website, there will be no more than this kind of information on Sustainability Map. It's really simple, and it's up to you to declare, to define what we want to share in such kind of media. So this is simplified, this is facilitated, but we don't see any risk. It's not about the complete know-how of the factories, of course, but it's really important for the buyers to have this understanding of your organization in order to see your commitment to sustainability also. Do you want to add something, Greg, on that?
No, thanks, Carole. I think you've covered everything very well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Carole. And so one last one on my side is for ITC. Is there any link between the UNSCE Sustainability Pledge and the Industry We Want, TIWW initiative with the Sustainability Map?
Not to my knowledge, but I must say that I am not responsible for the partnership, with the UNECE part of the project. So I don't want to say false information, and I'm not aware of it, unless Carole, you would know of anything, but not to my knowledge.
No more about that. It's really challenging also for the institutions to organize and to have the same understanding on the recommendations. We know, of course, that as it's a major challenge for all the brands, there is a lot of initiatives regarding transparency and traceability. We have chosen to work closely with ITC and UNECE on that are also the implementations partner chosen by the funded also by the European Commission. Okay.
So another question, very technical. Can factories join ICS and ITC platforms on their own initiative? So to be clear, without being invited directly by an ICS member. If you can further confirm this, thank you.
So maybe I can take this question, Carole. Yes, it is possible. The Sustainability Map is working extremely closely with ICS and their members, but we are also open, to other collaborations and partnerships. And as I have mentioned, some companies can actually engage on the platform, if they comply to specific standards. So maybe if you comply to a GOTS, to a textile exchange or an OEKO-TEX or another standard, you may be receiving an invitation directly from these standard schemes, inviting you to become a part of the Sustainability Map. Rest assured that if ever you receive an invitation or create a profile on Sustainability Map by your own means, and then you receive an invitation from ICS, we will make sure that you don't end up with two different accounts. We'll make sure that you will only have one account and that the information will be merged together so that you can showcase, information about your company in one environment and showcase your compliance, to sustainability standards, or showcase information about your ICS report as you see on the screen right now on the one common profile.
Thank you very much, Greg. So now moving on to maybe one of the last question. So we already tackled this one, but we believe it's very important that all participants have very clearly in mind the main objectives. So we would like to ask you again, maybe in some words on both ICS and ITC sides, to confirm how the mutual recognition or how the collaboration with different standards can actually take place. So basically maybe confirming again how the information sharing will work, because manufacturers and suppliers connected today seems to be very interested, but would really like to understand the confirmation of the interest for them to join. So maybe if you'd like to repeat a bit on this part, this could be very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's very much down to 5 points, which are of interest. So I know it's been a long presentation, but if there are just 5 things you have to remember, why participate, I would say 5 things. Number 1, it's gain visibility towards potential buyers. This is really one of the foremost advantages. The second one is to really have that online profile, this QR code, where you can tell the story, provide a description, show an avatar, provide links to your website, and most importantly, use the platform to back up the validity of your certification claims. We will use the data from other standard setting organizations, be it GOTS, Textile Exchange, OEKO-TEX. We're in discussion with many other initiatives to ensure that under this platform, any buyer can go, find out about yourself, and make sure that the sustainability claims that you make to comply to a GOTS, to comply to one of the Textile Exchange standards, are valid in one area. The fourth point is to showcase your network of brands you're already sourcing to, supplying to. It's a very strong selling argument if you can say, I'm already, part of that specific supply chain of the ICS member. That already gives you a lot of credibility, into international value chains. And last but not least, the fourth point is to respond to the regulations imposed by governments. Some governments will impose by the end of 2022, 2023, depending on where you are in the world, that brands, retailers show the transparency of the network. So by doing this, you're part of the solution. If you don't accept to be transparent, it may make things more complicated to actually do business in the long term. So we very much provide the option, to go public or not to go public, but we strongly encourage you to do so. I don't know whether you have anything to add on this specific point, Carol. Carol doesn't have anything to add. Maybe we can move on to the next question.
Sure. So we do have a very important question on data security. So maybe on ITC side, if you can reconfirm the fact that you're hosted by the UN server, that could reassure many of the participants. Thank you.
It's a very valid point, you know, and all of the information that we showcase as part of the factory ID are hosted under the United Nations. What this means is that the data is hosted on UN servers as part of the UNICE, the United Nations International Computing Center. It's got servers in the United States and here in Geneva. And the data falls under UN jurisdiction, which means that even if a government makes a request to access the data, they cannot. The data is not hosted, you know, within a public platform, a public provider. No, the data is safe and secured and responding to the highest standard of data security under the United Nations.
Thank you very much, Greg. And this is really an important part of the project, also to have the partnerships with a United Nations agency. And it's really great to have you on board, to have you on this kind of project. To complete about the previous question, we would like to have more and more initiatives, and it's also important for the initiatives and for the brands to mutualize the information. And the collaboration from the suppliers and the collaboration from the factories also would help also to extend, to promote this project. We have started, we are really close partner of ITC to start this project. Now the project is fully organized, and we hope that you will be able to engage in it and to speak about this project. And we hope that this kind of project will help you to mutualize information, to share the information, to share data, and so on. And then, of course, step by step, we are really sure that other initiatives will join the project sooner. Okay. Additional question?
I believe we had a very large tour of questions. So unless the very last questions, I believe that's good for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cécile, Nina, and Marine for this for having organized this question forum. So maybe it's a time for us to conclude this presentation. We are really happy that you will be able to be part of this presentation. We will share the recording of the presentation on the external ICS website by all the means, also to the complete list of participants, to mails and to emails and so on. We really thank you for your collaboration. It's really a big momentum, a very important journey to achieve all together, involving all the actors. And this was key for us to explain you the benefit of this project for you also. And we have tried as much as possible to simplify this journey by these tools, connected all together. And for you, this helps you to use one big starting point, for engaging in this transparency and traceability project. So thank you to all of you. Greg, if you want to complete. Good.
No, thank you. Thank you very much to ICS, to the ICS members, to all of you for attending this webinar. We're looking very much forward to our collaboration and to see you very soon with a factory ID on the sustainability map. So thank you very much.
Thank you. So we can click and complete and finish the session right now. Thank you to all of you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Goodbye.